Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Tirayet. Nasta Praye Swabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Today we're reading from Canto 10, Chapter 13, verse 37 and 38. So text 37. Keyamba kuta ayata daiviva nariukta suri prayomaya stume vartur nayame vimohini. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Who is this mystic power, and where has she come from? Is she a demigod or a demoness? She must be the illusory energy of my master, Lord Krishna, for who else can bewilder me? Purport. Balaram was surprised this extraordinary show of affection. Balaram was surprised. This extraordinary show of affection, he thought, was something mystical, performed either by the demigods or some wonderful man. Otherwise, how could this wonderful change take place? This Maya might be some Rakshashi Maya, he thought. But how can Rakshashi Maya have any influence upon me? This is not possible. Therefore, it must be the Maya of Krishna. He thus concluded that the mystical change must have been caused by Krishna, whom Balaram considered his worshipable personality of Godhead. He thought it was arranged by Krishna, and even I could not check its mystic power. Thus Balaram understood that all these boys and calves were only expansions of Krishna. Text 38. Iti shanchitya dasharo vaksan savaya samapi sarvan akashta vaikuntam shakshu shavayunenasa. Translation. Thinking in this way, Lord Balaram was able to see with the eye of transcendental knowledge that all these calves and Krishna's friends were expansions of the form of Sri Krishna. Purport. Every individual is different. There are even differences between twin brothers. Yet when Krishna expanded himself as the boys and calves, each boy and each calf appear in its own original feature, with the same individual way of acting, the same tendencies, the same color, the same dress, and so on. For Krishna manifested himself with all these differences. This was Krishna's opulence. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksuram militanjana tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, so here, Balaram, it's actually he's alluding that there is a superior nature and inferior nature. He's saying, what is this mystic power, right? How can it bewilder me? I can, and in the purport Prabhupada explaining that he's realizing that actually I cannot be bewildered like this, only to Krishna, only through a superior power. So I was meditating on who is this Balaram? You know, he's given the assumption that he cannot be put in illusion, but that others can. And then, so what is this illusion? Where is it coming from? Right? Who is Balaram that he's not put into illusion? Then who are we? What is our place in all of these? Do we fall into illusion? So sometimes people ask, who is Balaram? And we say Balaram is Krishna's brother. But however, he's actually much more than that, right? We understand through the Srimad Bhagavatam, through the Vedic texts, that Lord Krishna is the source of everything that there is, and he's expanding himself into unlimited forms. And these forms are actually not different from him. They may exhibit different forms and function, but they're actually imbued with all of his potencies. So he first expands into Baladev, into Balaram. And so Balaram is considered Krishna's first expansion and his brother. And he assists Krishna in all his infinite pastimes, both in the spiritual and material worlds. So it is explained that Lord Balaram is also Sankarshan. It means that he's overseeing the creation of the material and spiritual worlds. 1 second. Oops. And so Sankarshan is this expansion of Lord Balaram. He creates the spiritual world. So he creates the spiritual world. He creates the planet of Goloka Vrindavan, which is the highest planet in the spiritual world. He creates the Vaikuntha planets, which are the rest of the planets in the spiritual world. And so there's this pure creative energy, the Suddha Sattva, that's permeating the spiritual world and granting all opulences, all knowledge, all wealth, all power, etc., all beauty. And it's actually part of Balaram's creative potencies as Sankarshan. And then Balaram, as Sankarshan, he expands himself into in the Karnadakashaya Vishnu, or Mahavishnu, who it's breathing out all these universes. He also expanding himself into Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, which is his expansion into each universe. And then Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, which is his expansion into every living entity. And also Sheshanaga, or Anantasesh. Balaram is also expanding into the form of Anantashesh, which is described as the original devotee incarnation of God, because he he knows nothing but but service to Krishna. He's always singing the glories of Krishna. He's this big serpent, beautiful serpent with thousands of mouths, and just always singing the glories of Krishna. And it is described that he even he expands himself in Krishna's pastimes in the spiritual world as Krishna's paraphernalia. It says that he's the Krishna's umbrella, bedding, his pillow, garments, his Gayatri thread, even his chair, and even the slippers of Krishna. So he's exhibiting the ultimate end of servitude to Krishna. And then this expansion of Balarama's Karnadakashaya Vishnu, he's laying in the Viraja river, which is described as a border between the material and spiritual worlds. And from him springs this vast ocean of water, body of water known as the causal ocean. And he reclines there in a stage of divine sleep or yoga nidra. And all the universes are being created from his breathing. So it's actually said that the creation, it's but a dream of Mahavishnu or of Karana Dakashaya Vishnu. At the same time, the causal ocean is completely spiritual. It's coming from the body of Mahavishnu. And the Ganges it's known to be but a drop of that ocean. And so that's why it's carrying so many purificatory qualities, right? It's pure. Then the Vedas are teaching that the first expansions of Mahavishnu are actually the personified Vedas. So the personified Vedas are waking him up from his sleep, and they start praising his glories, they start praising his pastimes. And this is showing the eternal nature of the Vedic literature, right? They're not merely writings of men, but they're actually spiritual vibrations that exist before and after creation, are emanating from Krishna under his different expansions. And so once Mahavishnu is awake, he starts to inject the seeds of the jivas into the material energy with his glance. And we can see that he's actually not personally touching material energy, but he's placing the jivas by his glance. And this material energy, it is described to be comprised of three different modes or qualities, which are known as passion, goodness, and ignorance. And so these are characteristics that are inherited in material energy. And then when they become active, the material energy begins to manifest fully. But it will always remain unsettled because of the mixing of these modes. And we have the jivas there mixing with the modes, beginning to interact with material energy, and the senses start to appear, and the material elements begin to arise. So once these different material elements begin to arise, and Mahavishnu starts to create the different universe that are starting to emanate from his body at the exhalation. And when he inhales, it's described that everything returns back to his body. And that's the end of material creation, or the end of a cycle, the end of a yuga. And so therefore all the universes are remaining just for the duration of one of Mahavishnu's exhalations. And apparently there's no limit to his exhalations or inhalations. They go on and on limit infinitely. So going on, once all these universes are created, which are unlimited, Mahavishnu has expanded himself to going into his universe, but he sees that there's no place there for him. So he starts to fill half of the universe with water from his own perspiration, and then he lays down in that water, and then he's supported by the bed of Anantasesh. So once again, just to make the point that he is completely beyond the touch of material energy. And we have Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, who is the incarnation of the quality of goodness. And he's entering every living entity. He's present there in every living entity. So we're seeing, I wanted to share this background, because in relation to this verse, because we're seeing that everything in the universe is coming from Krishna, and he has no other origin. We find in the Brahma Samhita that Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarna Karnam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has internal, beautiful spiritual body. He's the origin of all. He has no other origin. And he's the prime cause of all causes. And so all these different expansions of Krishna are like taking a candle and lighting another candle with that same candle. So even though the other candles are burning separately, they're all having the same quality. So they're all of the same quality. And it's described that we are also, quote unquote, burning separately from Krishna. We're sprouting from that same energy. We're sprouting from Krishna, sparks of Krishna, but we are actually like very minute. We have the qualities, but in minute quantity. But it's amazing that Krishna is still there interacting with each one of us in a special relationship. He's present in each one of us. He's present in each and every living entity. And to me, that's pretty far out. And so, yeah, like, who are we? And are we falling into illusion? And I think the answer is yes. We are. I mean, I don't know, maybe all of you are self-realized, but I don't know. I'm still trying to learn. And so we're thinking that, oh yeah, I don't need Krishna, or what is all this? So we're making the mistake that we're thinking that through these senses we can know truth, and we're still wanting to enjoy through the senses, even they're not satisfying us. So when when we're starting to ask questions and seek knowledge, say like, what's going on here? I want to know, or we're utterly frustrated with the universe, or with our lives, or we want something from, we recognize that it's a superior power, we want something from that. We have to accept that we are not, the senses are not ways or giving us authority or giving us accurate knowledge, because they're faulty. This knowledge is not a question of researching through our senses, because the research work is going to be imperfect. So where are we accepting this knowledge from? It's coming from a superior being, from a superior energy. Like here is saying, Krishna is saying that he's the supreme absolute, and he is expanding into all these forms. He's expanding into Balaram. Balaram is expanding into all these different forms. Karna Dakashaya Vishnu. From him, the Vedas are coming from him. He's instructing Brahma, and Brahma is engineering all these different universes. And so, yeah. So the words coming from Krishna are different from the words coming from a person who's infected with, from the four major defects. We're sure to commit mistakes. We're invariable illusion, tendency to cheat others, and imperfect senses. And the goal of all this knowledge, it's the same goal, is to arrive at the absolute truth. Arjuna, in the Bhagavad Gita, he takes lessons from Krishna, and he's accepting everything that he's saying without contradicting. So one is really not going to arrive at pure knowledge, at pure truth, if we're just accepting one part and rejecting another. We are encouraged. We're encouraged to accept the knowledge that is above us. So, and how is that we, it's not blind faith, right? It's the famous phrase, taste is in the pudding. So we actually experience this knowledge through the practice. And we are receiving this knowledge from proper sources that are handed down to us all the way from Krishna. I wanted to talk a little bit, about what it is, what it means that there's this knowledge coming. What is this knowledge? What is this Krishna consciousness? I just wanted to quote in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 25, 26, 5 to 65, 25 to 65. It's the verse that basically sums it all up. Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Prema Tattva Sara, Bhava Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Lila Tattva Ara. That this Krishna consciousness, this awareness of Krishna, this knowledge of Krishna, and who we are, this understanding of the truth of Krishna, as the truth of devotional service. That is Krishna consciousness. It's an understanding of what is devotional service, what is love of Godhead, what is this emotional ecstasies, transcendental mellows, and the pastimes. So the Krishna Tattva, meaning what is the position of Krishna, what is the position of the Jiva, Bhakti Tattva, what is that process, which is that service in love. And I always like this, this idea that love with lowercase l, meaning it's serving love with capital case L. Love serving love. Isn't that great? So it's love with lowercase and love with, I don't know how you say it in English, anyway, capital L. Yes. So, and then so Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, and Prema Tattva, Sara. So Prema, arriving at that love, at that pure love. Vava Tattva, so Vava, the different emotions, different expressions of emotion, and through the rasa tattvas, they're making up the different rasas, different flavors, and through those different flavors is the relationship, parental relationship. There's all this different friendship, all these different relationships that making up the different leelas, the lila tattva. And here we have the lila of the Kahar voice and Krishna. And it's described that Krishna is the prema is actually the love of the devotees is actually controlling Krishna. It's actually Krishna is dependent on that love of his devotees. So, and Balaram is there noticing, like, wait a minute. He's noticing that they're experiencing something beyond that. Something is just reserved for Krishna. It's something that we feel in that relationship with Krishna, with only with Krishna. So yeah, just I guess, yeah, we're just following this process through pure knowledge, and our goal is that is to arrive at love of Krishna, and to understand that we can be put in illusion. We are this who we are as a jiva, as described as with the marginal energy, that we can either be influenced by the internal energy of Krishna or by the external energy of Krishna. And once we have this it's explained that we had the desire to enjoy separate from Krishna, and where Krishna is creating this is manifesting this reality for us to fulfill that. And once we are in it, we're covered with under the spell, and just like a magician, that's everybody likes a good trick, a good magic trick. It's an entertainment. We understand its illusion, but we're still feeling entertained by it until we realize, like, okay, this illusion actually not good for me. It's killing me, literally and figuratively. So yeah, I think I will end here, and I will open it for discussion and questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaya, Sita. Beautiful class. You were talking about jivas, how jivas are burning separately from Krishna, trying to enjoy separately from Krishna. And I was thinking, yeah, and suffering separately from Krishna. Also suffering like anything, at least I am, separately from Krishna. It's not that there is enjoyment separate from Krishna that is available to me. That's just a little tiny bit of what's out there for me. If I go for it, there's plenty of suffering, plenty of mental anxiety, and all kinds of worries and concerns if I choose to enjoy separately from Krishna. So thank you for that point. So I have a question, but before I ask my question, Adipusha Prabhu Temple Room, do we have anything there?
Everyone here seems completely satisfied, which is a fantastic class. Almost impossible to add anything. How wonderful is Krishna? How wonderful is Krishna? And then when we get that much, then Bhagavad Gita says, and therefore, let us serve Krishna. And what pleases Krishna the most? If we give other people devotional service, give other people access and share it. Fantastic class.
Yeah, that's right. That's how you end the separation from Krishna, by serving. Then there's this unity is available. Camaraderie is available. Okay, here's my question, Jesse. When we hear about Krishna Lila, about all these subjects, how Krishna is hanging out with his friends, having fun, and then we look at our situation, and then sometimes it's hard to relate, thinking that, oh, look at where I am. I have to go park my car. I have to go do this. I have to go work. And Krishna is going for a picnic. How do we avoid drifting into this mentality of thinking that Krishna Lila is unrelatable? It's too lofty. How to connect the two realms? The realm where I am with my imperfect senses, with my karma, and Krishna Lila, which is uplifting, purifying. How to connect the two realms in one class.
Yeah, wonderful question. And I'm not sure I have the absolute answer to that. But I can share that there's this idea that the idea that there's actually no separation. Like Krishna consciousness presents, it's trying to present the idea that there is no separation, but we are, and ultimately through the full absorption in service and in that consciousness, whatever we are experiencing, whether it's suffering of the body and suffering in relationships and all that, we are able to connect it to Krishna in some way, and we're able to see that those are arrangements of in the material energy to help us just be more eager and more eager for service and more eager for Krishna, and just purifying our consciousness, is purifying our own our own selves, and just peeling off all those layers until we surrender. And I was just reading on the commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that that's actually the jiva, if cannot, when that there's that pure recognition of love, when it arrives at that pure prema, it's actually so overwhelming for the body, and the jiva just completely can no longer exist in that body. I mean, Prabhupada says, just in a moment, if you feel pure, if you have that purity, in a moment we can exit and be done with being in this platform of existence. But while we're in it, we try to connect everything to Krishna, and trying to see everything as Krishna's energy, as is described. It's all his expansion, it's all Krishna, it's nothing but Krishna. So how do we act in the world in a way that we're constantly coming back to that awareness? And it is said, it's described that the spell is really, really powerful. I mean, yeah, like Balaram is like, oh, like he's mentioning all these potencies that could be so powerful, perhaps to to illusion anybody. But he's saying, but wait a minute, not me. But I mean, we cannot even fathom like the potency of material energy fully, I don't think so. But just to be aware that it's so powerful, the more that we engage in all its connections, through the senses, through like involving the senses in it, involving our mind, letting our mind be dragged by that energy and all of that, rather than trying to connect more with the spiritual energy. And the more we're going to be just dragged down into that consciousness, and less into higher
Quicksand, swamp.
Yeah, does that answer a little bit?
Yeah, it's perfect. I especially like the point that you made, that if we're eager to get closer to Krishna, then Maya Devi herself is helping us. She's opening us up, by putting through some difficult situations, unpleasant situations. It's an opportunity to surrender. Maya herself is helping us. I really like that one. I'll meditate on that. Maya is helping me. Okay, whose question is next? Or a reflection, a contribution to class? Unmute yourself. Maybe even turn your camera on. See, Jaya Sita is doing it, Adi is doing it, Bhakta Will is doing it. It can be done.
Oh, yeah.
Bhima Prabhu is doing it. The horses are doing it.
Wow.
Yeah. Bhima Prabhu is trying very hard just not to exit this body.
Maybe I can add something more.
Yeah.
That just like we may want to find something. What is that it's attracting us to Krishna? Because maybe there's something specific that is attracting us to Krishna, and so we may want to find what that is and increase that action, and to increase that connection with Krishna, and yeah, time will weed out our our propensities for falling back into illusion, or being continued to be covered by illusion, through increasing our what is that it is attracting us to Krishna.
Yeah, Mahatma Prabhu was given a seminar here at the Bhakti Center, and he was making this point that do what you're good at, make it your offering to Krishna, and that's it. Find what you like, what you're good at naturally, and do it. Focus on that, and this will be your contribution to the society.
Yeah, and it's described that we actually have this Krishna prema, this love for Krishna is in our hearts. This the scriptures, the Vedas they're saying Nitya Sita Krishna prema. There's an eternal nature is that we have this Krishna prema in our hearts. So we just have to follow this process, the process of reviving our eternal love for Krishna.
And what do we do with those things that we like and we're attracted to, but that aren't related to Krishna? like movies, politics?
Hmm.
Henry Prabhu, are you at politics?
So like, again, like everything is coming for Krishna, but what is it that from that that can remind us of Krishna? Like, and then do we, there's there's the process of weeding out things that is favorable for spiritual life, and engaging more in those things. Weeding out the things that are unfavorable for spiritual life and engaging more in those things that are favorable. So we have the choice. Yes,
weed out movies, weed out politics. What else?
At the end of the Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, I've given you all this, I'm telling you, you're this all, you do what you want to do, and it's okay with me. And so Krishna is providing either way. We just have to choose.
Yeah, thank you. Bhima Prabhu is walking around. He's probably trying to find what attracts him in Krishna consciousness. Adipurusha Prabhu?
Yeah, we might say what attracts us to Krishna or who attracts us to Krishna. Because ultimately, it's not just we do service, but we're actually trying to please a person. We're actually drawn to someone who's giving us good instruction, and our faith is nourished by that person. Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that how first you have a little faith, then you associate with devotees, and then among the devotees, a voice emerges, a particular person who we take shelter of, who we focus on, obeying. And not just we do what we like and what we feel good about, but you know what? That story about how much time do we have?
Like 50 seconds.
50 seconds. Malati Mataji told us that story, how she was struggling with anything cooking Prabhupada's lunch in Mayapur with such simple facility. And then after she served Prabhupada and his godbrothers one day, they were criticizing Prabhupada. Oh, woman is serving you, woman, you're sannyasi. He said, that's not a woman, that's my disciple. And if I asked her to, she would cut her throat for me. And I would cut my throat for her because she's my disciple. And so when she heard that, she said, God, she was trying to get out of the service of cooking Prabhupada's lunch. And the temple commander came to her and said, okay, we found somebody else to do it. She said, forget it. Nobody's going to do this. This is my service to my spiritual master, and I don't care what it takes. I don't care if it's difficult. I'm going to do this because I want to please him. I would do anything for him because this is my guru, and I want to please him. I'm not concerned about my own inconvenience. So that's a kind of interesting platform because we do pick up some service that we can relate to, and that's our propensity. But then at one point, besides the Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra propensities, there's the Vaishnava, who's willing to do whatever, because the love is so powerful that we don't care about what I like. I don't. Narayana Parasabe Nakatashina Vibhiti Svarga Prabhaga Narkesh. The devotee doesn't care if he goes to heaven or hell. He just wants to know, Lord, not just your permission, not just your blessings, but I'm asking for your instruction. Now I'm a soul surrendered unto you, and I'll do what you ask. What do you want me to do? Right? So the guru is essential for our progress in spiritual. Without the grace of the spiritual master, no one can make any advancement. The lotus feet of the spiritual master is the only way to obtain pure devotional service. Not just devotional service, but pure devotional service. Ahaituki apratiyata, unceasing, unmotivated devotional service to Krishna, the only thing that will satisfy the self, Shastra says. Anyway, that's what I heard from my guru. It's sobering and it's challenging, but we can do it. Krishna will help us.
Thank you, Adipurusha Prabhu.
Robert.
Yeah, dear devotees, we have to find a devotee that we can cut our throat for in bhakti and serve them.
We're not throat cutters. It's an analogy that, we're...
I'm joking.
That sacrifice, where's the love?
It is described that that bhakti is coming from a devotee, from the devotee. So how can we develop a relationship with Krishna if we can't not develop a relationship with Krishna's devotees? And Krishna's all the time interacting with his devotees. That's, I mean, this example, he's spending a whole year, playing, playing and dancing with the devotees and cowherd boys and just to their heart contents, making the parents to the cowherd boys who desire to be with Krishna and fulfilling their desires. And just that's all he's doing. It's love, and we have to.
Very sweet. Okay, we're running out the last few seconds here before the concho.
Last few seconds. Bhima Prabhu, you want to say something in the last few seconds?
Hare Krishna, wonderful class, so sweet. I really don't have much to say other than that when I take care of my animals. Hare Krishna.
Adipusha Prabhu, please put us on the donation box. Yes, that way. Turn your camera that way. Okay. Stand up, everybody. We're greeting the Lord. Rich Bhakti, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Okay. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Good seeing you all. Rich Bhakti, Sundarananda, Amrita Kishori Didi, Bhakta Will, Jaya, Sita, great class. Thank you very much. Bhima Prabhu, Arjuna Prabhu. Arjuna Prabhu is serving Srila Prabhupada right now. Suzanne, Yogeshwari, Preeti, Angel. Who else is here? So small. It's Sharmila, Anna. Okay. Have a wonderful Friday. Give it to Krishna. Cut your throat for Krishna today. Don't quit. You can quit tomorrow, not today. All right? Hare Krishna.